this is our first Get to Know a Therapist video. We are here today with, if you could tell everyone what your name is, what your specialty is.
Sure. I am Erin Swinson, and I am a licensed mental health counselor, a mental health therapist. I am also a certified Daring Way facilitator for all of you Brené Brown fangirls out there. I am trained in her work on shame and vulnerability, and I work at Clarity Clinic NWI.
Awesome. We are so excited for you to be our first guest.
Little nervous, but happy to be here.
You can't go wrong, okay?
All right, good.
So how long have you been with Clarity, and how long have you been practicing in total?
Sure. I have been a therapist for almost 7 years, and I have been with Clarity NWI for, since 2017. I was kind of one of the first original therapists that helped open the office with Anne Marie. So one of the original, the OG. And when we started, we had 3 therapists, me, Anne Marie, and Kristen. And then, my gosh, I don't know how many therapists we have now, 15, 16. And then we also have a whole medication management side. So we have grown. It's been awesome to be kind of a part of the grassroots effort and seeing how awesome and how grateful we are to this community that they've supported us.
So you're a founding mother. I'm going to request a picture of the founding mothers on the wall.
Oh my gosh, I love it. A really old picture.
Yes. Okay, so what do you specialize in?
So I do work, I work with people who struggle with a variety of different things. I work with kids of 8 years and older, teens, individuals, couples. And like I said, I work with people who struggle with a variety of things, but I would say that I mostly specialize in anxiety, depression, trauma, couples therapy, transitional things in your life, right? Divorce, new job, and also with people who are struggling with self-worth, self-esteem, and really feeling less than.
So you have a pretty wide range of what you can cover.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So when you became a therapist and you're out and about and people ask what you do and you say you're a therapist, what are some of the most interesting responses you get?
I would say it's probably twofold. It's like the extreme. So it's either, oh my gosh, you're a therapist. Are you analyzing me? Did I say something? Oh my gosh, what do you think of me? You must be thinking and judging me. Or 2, they're like, oh my God, you're a therapist. I've been to therapy. I have a sister who's struggling. What do you think I should do? So it's kind of like the opposite ends of the spectrum.
So you don't really get time off. If you expose yourself as a therapist, you're back on the job.
No, I clock out.
You're like, brain not working, time to...
Exactly.
Yes, that's what I do.
Yeah, I say, hey, here's my card. Call me later.
So what is it that made you want to become a therapist?
I think that's a good question. I feel like that I've always wanted to be in the helping profession for as long as I can remember. When I got out of college, I wanted to go get my master's in therapy, and my parents were like, that's the dumbest idea ever. You need to go straight into the workforce. But I've always thought about it. I feel like I really thrive when I connect with other people. I went through this Brené Brown training when I was getting trained myself, and it identified my values, and my top value is connection. So when I am connecting with someone on a deeper level, when I feel like both of us are being heard, it really kind of fills me up. And I think that has always been kind of the basis for me wanting to provide that safe emotional space for people in the therapy office.
That's a really nice answer. So what is your favorite thing about being a therapist? Has your fruition of why you wanted to become a therapist, has it evolved, and is it your current life?
Yes, I love it. I think the fact that I did it later in life is probably helped in a lot of ways. It just fills me up when I'm deeply connected with people, or that I'm able to offer the space in which people feel felt. I mean, I think that a lot of times we go to therapy. I've been to therapy before, and you go into a space in which there's non-judgment, it's compassionate, it's empathetic, it's supportive, it's really focused on your strength. And I really love offering that to people who come into our office.
Good, good. I'm glad that you are seeing the fruits of your labor.
Yes.
So what type of clinical approach, I need you to dumb it down a little bit, because I know sometimes when it comes to these things, it's a lot of verbiage that people might not quite understand, and language, and so what kind of approach do you typically take with your clients?
I think the basis for every clinical experience I use is strength-based, really focusing on people's strengths, their positive qualities, their strengths, having people really recognize how awesome and amazing they are. So using that as kind of a guiding post for them to make themselves their strongest self. From a clinical standpoint, I typically use cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT, which really focuses on thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. I specialize in mindfulness. I have been practicing meditation myself for probably 7, 8, 9 years. So I have seen the benefits of it personally, and the science behind it has proven that it's been a really great clinical strategy for reducing anxiety, depression, and helping with cultivate self-compassion. And it also kind of depends on what people come in with. If trauma couples, it just depends on kind of what the presenting problem is, but those are pretty much the basics, the dumbing down of the clinical approach.
Okay. I'm picking up, you pull out the strengths of people even when they can't see them. You try to let them understand. I could understand that. So a big reason we did this today was to kind of break down the stigma of therapy. Because a lot of people are afraid to make that first appointment, to walk in the door, wondering what the first session is going to be like. Can you paint us a little bit of a picture of what that first session does look like?
Yes. I think the thing that I really try to emphasize on any first appointment is to really focus on the fact that it is brave and courageous to come into some stranger's office to want to make yourself your strongest self. So we really focus on destigmatizing the first appointment. Coming to therapy is a great form of self-care. It doesn't mean you're broken, doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. So we really focus on identifying those strengths in the first session, and identifying kind of what the treatment goals are. If it's reducing anxiety, strengthening your relationships, processing trauma, that's what we kind of really focus on the first session, and really just building rapport, getting to know the person, and making sure that they do feel that they're in a safe, compassionate space.
Right. So I know this is a hard question, and I don't know if you're going to be able to give an answer, but I'm still going to ask it, because I think, as someone who's gone to therapy myself, how long is there a time you can put on growth?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I think it is a hard question. I do think that sometimes people come into therapy and think that in the first 2, 3 sessions, they're magically going to be in a different state of mind. And I tell people, right, depending on how old you are, it could have taken your brain 30 years to use that sort of what I call cheap energy, right? That automatic negative thought, that automatic or impulsive way of responding. So it's not going to take, a quick fix to change how your brain responds to things. And so having people give themselves grace and self-compassion and kindness to know that this is a process that might take a little longer, just because there's, ingrained ways of responding. On the other hand, though, it takes a lot of work to change. And so if you're coming into a therapist's office 1 hour a week, and you're not able to kind of practice some of those skills or strategies or redirection or processing that we talked about in session, it's probably going to take a little longer. So it's kind of also dependent on the person to make a change. You've got to change to make a change. And so that's what I always tell people. So it kind of depends on where they are, kind of what they're struggling with, what they need to process, and how much work they want to do outside of the therapy office.
Okay, so I expected an answer like that, but it's nice to hear it broken down into why the case by case may be such a big variance.
Yeah.
So what is a stigma about therapy that you would like to break?
That it's for someone that is weak or broken, or, we hear all these different labels, crazy, and that is the opposite of that, right? It is a process for being brave and courageous and wanting to make yourself your strongest self. And that's kind of my goal when we're in therapy, is to really recognize that, focusing on the strengths.
Okay, yeah, I think you said something earlier that I thought was really poetic, that therapy is the best form of self-care.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really, really nice way to put it. So just to humanize you as not just, the one sitting in the chair giving the advice, I want to ask a question just to get to know you. So as your childhood memories run through, what is the happiest, your favorite memory, that a story you like to tell?
I would probably say when I won the Michael Jackson dance contest in 5th grade. It was probably like my first foray into vulnerability, because I was kind of a quiet kid, not a big risk taker. And they said, hey, we're going to have this dance contest with everyone in 5th grade. And I was like, I'm going to enter because I love Michael Jackson. And so my mom bought me this red members only jacket and like sewed this, sequin glove, and I practiced forever, and I won. And it was like one of the most prideful moments. Again, it was like a huge exercise in vulnerability. But I actually think that I thought it was my road to meet Michael Jackson, and I got some like dopey Dairy Queen gift card, and I was like, this is what I get. Because I was convinced that he was gonna like meet the 5th grader from Missouri who won the Michael Jackson dance contest. It didn't happen, but I remember it very, very fondly.
Have you performed this since your childhood?
Oh my gosh, all the time. I have.
Okay, we're gonna need to see this. Are you willing to do it right now?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I didn't think so. I had to try.
Yes.
Okay. What is the best thing about working for Clarity Clinic, Northwest Indiana?
I just love the community feel. I love, Anne-Marie has really tried to make this office a very modern, comfortable, safe environment. I don't know, for many of us who have gone to a therapist's office, sometimes it can feel a little cold, a little white coatish, and we have really tried to make this a very comfortable, safe, warm environment, because like I said, it's a brave and courageous step that you're taking, and we want you to walk into a space that feels very welcoming and supportive.
Yeah, the office is definitely, from the therapy I've gone to seeing this office, it's very modern, and it's very airy, very light.
Yes.
It's a very, really pretty space. So since the pandemic has hit, obviously this has thrown everybody's world into disarray.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been many people, I don't know if there's anyone who hasn't been affected, unless you're an infant. Even then, you don't know it. So how has this affected your therapy? And what kind of advice can you give to people who are struggling day by day, especially you being a professional with mindfulness? What kind of tips could you give? And, first maybe walk us through how it affected you.
Yeah. I think the pandemic has affected everyone differently. What I hear and what I think for myself is that it really has created a sense of isolation and loneliness, because as humans, we are wired for human connection. So when we aren't able to connect with someone on a deeper level, even from a smile, right? Like if I go into the grocery store and, you know, what I love about Munster is that it's the small community, and you walk into the Jewel and you're like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? But you can't see people's faces, or you can't see their nonverbals. And so it's been challenging, I think, for everyone to not feel that human connection, also with social, you know, distancing restrictions. So I think a lot of people are feeling that loneliness and isolation. We are super grateful that we were able to get on a platform, a HIPAA compliant platform, to do Zoom sessions and continue to offer therapy services. But it has been different. I mean, in a therapist's office, like I look a lot for nonverbals, and you know, I mention something and all of a sudden somebody taps their foot, and I'm not able to see that when I'm on Zoom. So it's been a little bit of a challenge just to continue to create that really strong, intimate connection that includes nuances and nonverbals and body language that maybe you can't see on Zoom. But again, like, super grateful that we're still able to offer this in a time where people are really struggling. I think the question you said was about mindfulness. So one of the things that I have found, right? So, you know, my brain, everybody's brain kind of goes to the uncertainty of what this looks like. And there's a lot of things that we could be focusing on in our present moment that we can find a lot of joy and gratitude in. So for example, using mindfulness, which is the ability to focus on the present moment in the here and now. So finding things like nature, right? Can you go for a walk and look at every bird around your block and really focus on what that looks like, and finding the joy and the connection with nature? One thing that I've done for myself is that, you know, because we have such limited connections with people, really using mindfulness to connect with the people that you are able to be close with. So for my kids, I use my senses a lot in mindfulness, really focusing on what are they listening, what are they hearing, right? What am I hearing? Laughter, questions, what am I seeing? Facial expressions, different colors of their clothes. So using mindfulness to really connect with what's in front of you. And when you're able to kind of find joy in the ordinary moments, there's a lot of gratitude that you may not know that you've had when we were thinking about all the things that we're missing right now.
I like that. You know, it kind of reminds me of, you know, there's like the trends going on of making sourdough bread.
Yes.
Or, you know, there's a lot of things people started doing during the pandemic that almost seem a bit colonial. It's almost taking us a step back to slow down and have more maybe of a mindful way of approaching our days.
Yes.
So I really like that. I definitely have gone to the park a lot more. Looked around, rolled in the grass, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Done a lot of different things that maybe we were too busy focusing on the extraordinary or the routine or all of this other kind of what I call chasing. And, you know, unfortunately we're forced to be really present. But there's also some really good, joyful moments happening right in front of us.
Oh, I like that. Well, Erin, this idea has been brought up for a while now. One of our goals was, as we had mentioned, to break the stigma, to humanize the experience. And I think that you gave us a really nice approach to that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have to say that I am from this community. So when I do come around and I run into people and they hear about Clarity, they bring up your name a lot. So, and there is always positive feedback, how amazing of a therapist you are.
Oh,
so are you currently seeing clients or?
Yep. I am open for clients, and you can book online. You can call our main number. There are also a variety of other different therapists that are also seeing clients, but yep, I am taking new clients.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This is our first video. I feel like I'm like Mr. Rogers, walk in the park, get the information. Right now I'm outside the clinic, 9250 Columbia Avenue, ClarityNWI.com. Thank you so much. And I hope that your day is mindful and your weekend is great.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in to our first 20 minutes or so with a therapist. I hope you got some useful information and enjoyed getting to know Erin. We hope to continue to bring you more content, more introductions, and breaking the stigma around asking for help. Subscribe to our station to get updates on new videos, and please, if you are in need of help, give us a call or visit our website. Cheers.